components we have that form the Salesforce app. So we have talked about the other day, I think we were talking about this concept MVC, right? And we talked about three layers. Does anyone remember what is MVC framework? Anyone of you?
Let me check. I don't remember that, but I realized there are three levels of model, view, and control, right?
Well, yeah. What does model mean?
Model is a database, view is the user interface, and control is basically the controlling logic behind the scenes.
Absolutely correct. So while I'm talking about the components of the Salesforce, I have components in each layer, right? So there are certain components in the database, there are a few components on the view, and there are components on the controlling logic side. Okay, so all three layers are formed of some components, right? So if we talk about database or the model thing, in the model we have objects, fields, records, correct? Object, fields, records. This is what my database is formed of. Object means table basically, okay, and field means a column, and record is like a data row of data. So this is what a database will have. Primarily a database is formed of what? It's formed of table. Database is collection of tables. Table is formed of columns. And then that table, when we start putting data into it, it has rows of data. Correct?
Yep.
There is no difficulty understanding this, right? So this is what we have in the model layer or in the database. Rest everything that you see belongs to the view layer, right? Like we have seen the apps, we have seen the tabs. Um, Arvind, can you just share the password that you did yesterday?
Sure. Give me one second. Do you have the ID?
Yeah, idea you'll have.
Okay. So,
See, when I try to log in today, it does not ask me for the security token, sorry, the verification code, activation
uh,
code, because it finds it in my browsing history.
yep.
Okay. So, these three components are there in the model database, and rest everything that you see here belongs to the view layer, like these tabs. Okay, like leads tab. This tab is a part of the view layer, okay, the front end layer. This accounts, this tab is a part of the front end account layer. Sorry, front end UI. Okay, contact, this tab. This is also a part of the front end. Right. In the view, we have tabs. Okay, so a tab is different from a table. Basically, if you look into this account, there is a tab called accounts. See, this is an accounts tab. This tab is a part of the front end, and the table which it connects to is a part of the back end. Okay, so it's not the same thing. Got it? So there are two things. One is the table in the back end, and one is the tab which has been created to access that table. Got it? So in the front end we have tab, which is kind of button to access an object. For now, that should be the understanding, that that's a button for creating the connecting to the object. You can use this tab for connecting to a web page also, but that's something that we will get into later. Then we have seen an app. You've seen a list of apps here, right? So
Yep.
these are apps. An app, and when you click on the app, you will see the tabs get changed. Different set of tabs appear here. So an app is basically a collection of tabs. Got it? So that's how it is. So we have the tab, which is a button to access an object. Then we have an app, which is the collection of tabs. Is that clear?
Yep.
So these are the components primarily. Okay. Now, we have all these components available here. Salesforce has provided you with a certain application, right? So it has a structure, it already has a few tables, it has the tabs, you can see that, right? The moment you buy a Salesforce login or you create a developer edition, you get to see that there are so many tabs available, there are these apps already there. Definitely there is a big, database in the back end also available. All these things are called standard. Whatever Salesforce has provided is standard. Okay, why it is standard? Why is it called standard? Because that's standard for you and me and for anyone else who is using Salesforce. So that's the reason why these are called standard components. Okay, so we have this concept of standard components, like standard objects, standard fields, standard apps. So all these things, whatever is existing, whatever Salesforce has provided, that's all standard. And the problem with standard is you cannot delete any of the standard components. Okay, so that's kept in a layer. Salesforce from their side, they have kept all the standard components in a layer where we do not have an access to it. So you cannot delete it. They allow you to modify some of the standard components, but that level of modification will be very less. Fine. So standard, you just try and understand that something which Salesforce has created, which is available to everyone, and we do not have an option of making any changes on whatever is standard. We can create components which are custom. Okay, so if you create something, that will be called a custom SFDC component, like a custom object, a custom field. Okay, anything which is custom, which you are creating, is very specific to your org, your Salesforce org, right? And you have all the options of deleting it, because you create it, you can delete it as well. Got it? So now when we start talking about the customizations, or when we start talking about understanding the Salesforce standard application, we will realize that there is a a requirement to customize the standard application. Most of the times, when a company gets a license from Salesforce, they might have a requirement of making certain changes to some things here and there, right? Maybe let me go back to the sales app. The other day we were talking about the sales process, and I was talking about the sales app. So you would realize that some companies might just want to have one or two additional objects involved in this process, something like an invoice, something like something like maybe a shipping voucher or something like that. So that sort of things can be required depending on the requirement of the business. If the company does some client demonstrations and they just want to track all those things here, that can be tracked. Correct? So for that reason, the company might require to create a few additional components, custom components. Got it? So that's the logic basically.
So, Jeet, quick question. When you basically we said there are some standard components as such as objects, fields, and apps. Would we be able to add any one of those to be customized that are not a part of the standard? Like it could be an object, field, or even can you create an application too, or the application is limited?
Yeah, can you just give me a second? 1 second,
Sure.
I'll just be back. Hello. Hey Arvind. Hi. Sorry. You can hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Tell me. You were saying something. Sorry.
No, I was asking, could you create a custom app as well?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool.
Right.
So then necessarily this doesn't only apply for sales at all, right? It could be any other process flow that for that matter, right?
Right. Exactly. So that's what the point is. That's where I actually wanted to start. So there are two things to it. One is customizing the existing application by including a few fields, or okay, when we are talking about customization, what can we customize? Either we are willing to customize the front end, or we will be customizing the database, right? Or we will be
Right.
customizing the controlling logics. All right. So
Sure.
What we do is we basically need to understand where exactly that customization part is required. So all this discussion, why I'm trying to explain it to you, I could have straight away jumped into this is how you create an object, but why do I bring this MVC framework every time into picture? Because this is like a skeleton of the entire application, right? So if you
Sure.
understand the skeleton, and if you know understand the difference between what's a tab and what's an object, then you will be able to figure out things where exactly the customization is required, right?
Sure.
So that's
Now, one last question
hmm.
before we get into the specifics, and I'm sorry if I'm
Please go ahead.
deviating from that line.
No, go
Now,
ahead.
when you were showing me the different tabs, right, saying that there could be an instance where you'd possibly only customize a few fields or a few objects or whatever the case might be, it might not be the entire thing. Now, and a lot of times, a lot of organizations might be getting into this platform midway during their operations, meaning that's not a brand new business, it could be an existing business. You already have things to manage the existing tasks that we currently do on Salesforce. So what I'm getting at is, for example, probably a company might not be in a position to, build everything and then get onto the platform. A lot of times they'll probably be in a situation where, get started with whatever is available and then build more stuff and then get into add things into the platform from a previous software or previous platforms for that matter. Would Is that a possibility or is that not a possibility on Salesforce? Does it make sense?
No, I cannot understand. Tell me again.
So basically what I'm saying is when you talk about integration or migration, right?
Hmm.
And
Migration basically.
and this, yeah, migration. Let's talk. So, and this
Hmm.
is more from a how do you sell the benefits of this platform to somebody?
Uh-huh.
So would a part by part integration be possible and still continue using this platform for the other core functionalities that it
Yes.
already had?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
So basically, you're
I'm
doing
sorry if I
yeah.
deviated.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that the company might not be able to implement full functionality in one go, right?
Right. Or even
So
customize it and then use it for the whole thing.
no, so that's fine. I think you can do part by part also. That's absolutely
Got
fine.
it. Thanks.
So, basically, what we will start with is, so we understand the structure and everything, right? Now, what I want you to start up with is, first of all, we will start thinking from the point of view of creating a new app, okay? Because that's the fresh area and you get to understand things better there. And then get into, where, things can be customized on the existing app, all right? So
Sure.
again, when we're talking about customization on the existing sales app, it either will have to be something to be changed on the view. In the view, we have seen there are tabs. Okay, so we have seen that we have tabs, and we have seen that there are apps in the front end. Then we see that in the database we have objects, fields, right? So my customization will be something among these things only. Either I'll be creating one extra object, or I'll be creating a couple of fields in one of the existing objects, right? So that's how it is going to be. But we will start with creating a complete new application, all right, which is not there. Okay, so that you start understanding all the aspects of it, a complete custom app, and then once you are able to do that, you are definitely able to do what is required here in this thing in the existing application. Fine.
Sure.
Okay. So just give me a moment. So before we start designing the application, we'll just take up a scenario, and we will first of all figure out what kind of a data model it will have. See, out of these three layers, what do you think is the base in MVC?
The
What
model.
is the base?
the model.
Right. So if you have to design an application, what needs to be finalized first?
How the data is going to be laid out, right?
Right. So that's there. Okay. So now we are actually gonna learn how to create an application, but it's not just going the transactional way that okay, fine, go do this setup, click on this. That's not what we are gonna learn. We will, because that's a matter of 10 minutes. But what we are going to do is we are actually going to take up an activity and we will try and create an application the way it is done practically, right? So not the way it is being done in a classroom. The way it will you will do it uh, while you are doing it for a client. All right. So let's take any of the scenario. Let's take any business, and we will try to create an application for that. Do you have any particular industry that you have worked with, or you have knowledge on any particular industry, domain, or anything?
You know my background. I deal with call centers, so that's the only
Okay,
area of expertise.
call centers. Okay. Apart from that, because that's again something. Do you guys are into support, or how is it?
No, we deal more with debt collections. That's
Okay,
outbound and inbound.
that's outbound and inbound. All right. So apart from that,
Hotel industry.
hotel industry. Okay. All right. What kind of an application you think a hotel industry can develop using MVC? Okay. So now we are actually getting into thinking and brainstorming part of it. So let's say hotel industry. You said that you have some knowledge on that. Okay. What
Sure.
kind of an application you think that hotel industry can develop using Salesforce or any MVC structure basically, which will help them?
So, I mean, it starts off with sales, right? To start with, room sales. You promote the rooms that the hotel has. That's the biggest revenue maker for a hotel.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Okay. Again, one thing that we have to understand that the say MVC kind of a structure basically is used for managing data somewhere, right? So creating
okay.
an interface and creating a database where they can actually manage their data or resources, whatever. So you are managing your customers, someone is managing their inventory, resources, right? Or
Right.
employees, or maybe your vendors, partners, whatever, right?
Sure.
What kind of a management basically, something like a Salesforce do for people who are doing this thing, for a hotel industry? Can you think of something?
So you're saying what are the resources, or is that
What
the
kind of an
question?
application can be developed?
Now, if it's an end-to-end uh, software, then it could be sales from sales to employee management to customer relation, right? It could be any one of them. But so
Okay,
let's
let's
start with
take one part, yeah, one thing at a time. Let's say sales.
so let's talk about room reservations, right? That's one basic thing that any hotel would need. So
Okay,
that's managing
fine.
the available rooms.
So basically, managing their rooms and reservations through this kind of an application. All right.
Right.
Okay, let's go ahead with that. Now, to do that, what kind of a data structure will be required? What all data will need to be stored?
Uh, Number of rooms that are available at any given day.
Okay,
So initially to start with, number of rooms that are available,
number of rooms
and then
which
it
are
comes to,
available. Okay.
yeah, that's where we should start. And then,
Hmm.
availability by date,
Mm-hmm.
or the status by date, I should say, right? It depends, it's free or occupied or booked, whatever the case might be.
Okay. What
Um,
else?
Type of room,
Type of room. Okay.
right? And then depending on where the location is and
Hmm.
what events are going on, that way you can price them accordingly.
Hmm.
Then of course the pricing structure.
Okay.
Um,
What else?
I mean that's the base, and then it comes to who's authorized to make the reservation,
Mm-hmm.
customer details, that can be linked to a particular room for a particular period of time,
Mm-hmm.
or a particular group of rooms for a particular period of time, either ways.
So if you have to, list down all these things in the form of a database or in the form of tables and fields, out of all these things that you're saying, which one is a
Uh-huh.
table and which one is a field?
So isn't field a part of the table? It is, right? Is the understanding correct there or no?
Yes, absolutely
Okay.
correct.
So a table would be, you know, a table can have multiple fields like type of room, status of availability, um, what does it say, price, and then the date from what we just discussed. And of course, the name of the customer would be one. And then all this would make up one specific table.
You have Microsoft Excel on your computer? Excel?
Yep,
Can you open
sure.
Microsoft Excel?
Wait 1 second. Yep, can you see my screen now?
Not yet. Okay. Yeah. Can we just list down, whatever we are talking about?
All right.
So just put a name for the table at the top, and after that, just keep on putting in the fields. Yeah, maybe something like this. Right. Room number, date, price. Okay.
Uh,
So rooms is the name of the table, right?
right.
Okay. Can you just make it bold? Yeah. Okay. Now let's understand this thing. From here, you say date. Date will be a field on the rooms. Okay. What date will
Right.
be? What date will you put there in the room? That, let's say there is a room called 101. Now that
Right.
101, what will be the date associated to that room?
Now there could be two ideally, right? One is uh, the date for which it is available or not. So I guess that would be a room status, right, for that given date.
So that should not be date, right? That should be status.
Right. So then date could be, how would you check the availability on any given date? You would need that also.
But how, if you put a date here, let's say you put the date as 15th August, how will
Hmm.
someone actually look into this and understand whether it's available for 15th September or not?
That's true. You're right. So then how would that work into to know the status though? Would it be a different way to integrate that?
So create a field called status.
Okay. Just did.
Okay, and let's not have the date field here. Okay, so this is how it is.
Okay.
While you start thinking about the data structure, this is the most important part while you're designing an application. Once your database structure is set right, after that it's all a matter of just point and clicks. So start with small objects, and whichever fields you think are not fitting exactly in that object, you can just skip those fields. for the time being. Okay, just maybe keep a note of that this field needs to be included somewhere, but we will see where we can actually fit it. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so room number is basically I'm trying to understand that's the identification of the room, right? Room ID
Correct.
basically. Hmm?
Correct.
Type is okay, the type of the room. Price is price. Customer name now. Okay, that's the other thing. Customer name. How do I populate a customer name for a room? Every day there is
It
a
would
new
be
customer.
right. So it would be a field that would change on an ongoing basis.
So every day that thing keeps on changing, right?
Right. Or it could for a period of time.
Let's remove the customer name also.
All right.
Because there's something which is going to change very frequently. Okay, so
Sure.
there is no point actually storing that information here in this table for this.
Mhm.
So when you're creating a table for uh, what do you say, rooms, let's say, all right, you should be creating the fields which are kind of attributes for that particular thing, room. Okay.
Sure.
But customer name is not an attribute for the room. So any other specifications about the room can be mentioned here, which are, which may change, but they are not changing very frequently.
Sure. Something like, which floor it is on, right? Would that make sense?
Yes. Okay. Makes sense.
All right. And then, whether it is accessible,
Accessible means,
for like
basically yes or
somebody,
no.
elderly person or disabled, are there amenities that would
Okay. So
help them out?
that, okay. So that will be kind of yes or no field.
Right.
Okay. That's fine. All right. Okay. Now in the column next to it, start putting the data type which goes into each of these fields. Room number will be what? Alphanumeric. Okay.
Right. I mean, it
Room
depends. Most hotels have just numeric, but I'm just saying it could be alphanumeric.
alphanumeric. Okay, that's fine. I mean, let's keep it for alphanumeric. Room type will be.
I mean, it depends on organization to organization, but depending on it could be a specific list of values. For
So
the most
make it
part,
a
it should
pick
be
list.
fine. It's called a pick
So
list.
yeah, so make it a pick list. So,
Okay.
they will have a list of options to choose from, right? So, a drop down or a pick list, whatever you
Right.
want.
Right. Right.
Price will be,
Currency, right?
yeah. Status,
It has to be a pick list.
okay. Floor,
Numeric.
okay. We can make it numeric also, or, just put a numeric slash pick list.
Got it. Yeah, that's true. It could. I mean,
Because, what we try to do is when you're trying to design an application, most of the times you try to make sure that your end user is making correct entries.
true.
Okay, so if we allow numeric, someone might enter 99 and this hotel
Yeah.
might just have 9 floors by mistake, right? So to avoid human errors.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, accessibility can be if there are only two options, true, false, or yes, no. Then there is an option of making it a checkbox.
Okay.
So we have the option of checkbox.
Now,
Um,
would it have an option of a radio button too?
I will have, but why would you want to make it a radio button?
No, I'm just asking customization, right? That's why I was asking if that's one of the options or not. And in the back end would relate to the same yes, no, or
See,
a
a radio
pick list
button
only.
is, is not a valid field type in Salesforce in general, but a radio
Okay,
button can be included in a form. Got it?
got it.
Radio button means
But
what? Out of four options, you're selecting one, right?
right,
That's actually not, the four options cannot be taken as entries. So basically what happens is this checkbox option is available. We can make it a checkbox. Radio button
okay,
can be included through a form. So you can design a form. So when we talk about development there, we can talk about this. When you design a
sure.
form and then you are just providing four options in the form, and one of those is selected. Whatever is selected, that goes into the database, right? Like, so there a lot of logic controlling happens, that okay, if the person selects this, put this into the database, correct?
Mhm.
So that's something that we will talk through visual force, but for now I think we can just keep it to the checkbox or
Okay.
a pick list.
All right, I mean, we already have two pick lists, so let's just do a check box
Okay.
that we have. We can
That's
look at that functionality as well. Are
that's
you okay with that?
absolutely, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So all right. So that's my rooms table. All right. What other
Right.
tables do you think we need? Would you
Um,
also want to have a list of all your customers?
right, but yeah, we should have one for the customers as well.
I mean, is it okay to keep, try, have a list of customers also? That'll be good, right?
Sure.
So, okay. So let's quickly create the fields based on the fields. And the same way you can actually, let's just put first name, last name and phone. That's it.
Right.
You can put more
Okay.
fields.
Sure. That's what I was going to say. It's going to be
Okay.
endless when it
Yeah.
comes to this kind of a table.
Yeah, so you can just work on this, and beside this, I would also want you to put the data type. Again, just think about the data type, right? And
Sure.
start thinking from, because I asked you to select this one since you said that you have this, knowledge of the hotel industry or something. I mean,
Right.
you don't need to have in-depth knowledge, but try to understand what kind of an information about customer can make sense to a hotel. What sort of
Sure.
information they would want to track, and try to get those things, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I have two tables now. So basically, what I have got done is I have got the customers and what product I'm selling. So rooms is like my products, right? What exactly I'm
Hmm.
trying to sell,
Yep.
right? Now, what other table you think we need?
You know, something to show the dates or a event schedule for a specific city or a specific location of the city. That could decide the pricing, for example.
Right. Okay. So there is one small thing. I mean, I'll leave you with this assignment today. But
Okay.
before that, I will just tell you one thing. See, while you start forming the data structure, you will see that there is some data which is already there. Which is fixed kind of data. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's called master data. Like
Okay.
my rooms are there, and that is going to be something which is there is a fixed number of rooms or something, so that's master data. Okay, your customers, that's master data.
Hmm.
Again, I mean, there is no such what do you say, logical theory behind that, but for your understanding, there some data will be there which is pretty much existing, and we can pretty much understand that, okay, fine, this data is there and this needs to be tracked. That's master data, like rooms, customers. Okay, and then there will be some data which will be transactional data. Okay, the transactions also need to be tracked, so we need to create tables for the transactions also, correct?
Yep.
Your date part will be accommodated somewhere in the transaction, correct?
Okay.
Because date is not something that I want to track once, it will be for every transaction which is happening, right? So
Sure.
that's kind of a transaction. So we need to have certain tables about the transactions also. For example, like if we talk about the normal sales application, account, contact, these are master data. Opportunity is a transaction, case is a transaction. Got that? So product, account,
Got it.
contact, this is all master. Opportunity is transaction, because you also need to track the transactions,
Yep.
right? So here, what do you think, what will be the transaction? So I am just thinking about your date part.
A reservation could be a transaction.
Yes. Now that's nice thing. So create a table for reservation, a reservation or a booking, whatever you call it, right?
Right, right,
So now for every particular date, there can be a reservation. So I am tracking everything. I'm not just, if I just put a date in a room type, then what happens? Every time you're changing the date or customer name, you're losing the previous information. But here you are not losing
right.
any information. So in
Correct.
reservation, what all fields you think need to be created?
One is date the reservation was made, right?
Okay.
Date for which the reservation was made.
Mhm. So check in,
Uh,
check out date basically. Date of
right. That
reservation and check in, check
so
out
like
date. Both.
meaning I'm calling the hotel today to make
Uh,
a reservation for the New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so that's one thing. Date on which reservation was made, and after that, one check-in date and check-out date, right?
Correct.
So
Yes.
three date fields. Okay, what else?
Right.
You can add it later on. But what else can you
Sure.
think in a reservation? What else needs to be tracked?
Uh, is it a guarantee? Has the payment been made?
What else?
Uh, Number of people?
Okay, what else?
Mm, like if there is a specific list of amenities that the guest can
What
choose
else?
from,
What else?
those could be.
Yeah, so all these
Trying to
things,
think.
just keep in mind, and you try to see where all these things fit and how you can actually put them. But I'm
Sure.
actually trying to find out some specific. Acha, list of amenities should be related to room, not the reservation. Is it something like that? Uh,
True. Yeah. I mean,
okay, there's a small thing which we are missing on, which is this reservation has to be connected to a room, and this also has to be connected to a customer. Who
correct.
was the customer who made the reservation and for which room the reservation was made. Okay, so
Right.
this transaction will always be connected to the masters somewhere, because the
Okay.
master must be making the transaction, or it must be related to, so it has to be connected to a certain product, it has to be connected to a certain customer, right?
Right.
So that's there. So just make a note of it, room and customer, which customer, which room, and after that this transaction will have its own details, check-in date, check-out date, any discounts offered or something like that, whatever,
Sure.
for that
So
reservation.
would those, like for example, if it has to be a specific field from a rooms table, let's say, how would you integrate that into, or how would you add it into the reservation?
There will be a relationship field which we can use.
Got it.
All right. So, but just list it down, and in the data type, cause just mention a relation field or relationship field. All right,
Right.
that'll be it. So, let's do one thing. You just go ahead and try to work a little more on this application. Fine. Think about it. What all other fields, what all other objects can be included in it. The main thing that I want you to start working on is, and I want you to start understanding the data structure, in the simplest possible way. Once you start understanding the data structure and you can understand the data structure of your application and other applications, rest everything is going to be simple, very simple, because everything we understand the base is data structure. You
Right.
need to write a code, or you need to change a code, or you want to create some components. Everything starts with the data structure, correct?
Right.
So just work
Now,
a little on this.
sure, whatever data type would be a specific date. Is it called a date? What type of data type is?
Date, yes, date.
Okay, got it.
Fine. And
All right.
wherever you do not know what exactly the data type will be called, you write whatever you feel like. Okay, then we will see
Okay,
what we can map it with Salesforce, what are the options. All right.
sure. Hey, Ashok,